welcome back into my home. I wanted to give you an update on the books that I mentioned on my last video. If you haven't watched it, you should go ahead and watch it right after this one though. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about BookTok, which is a hot topic nowadays. I don't have criticism per se, I just have a few points that I wanted to make, or some thoughts as a former therapist, so what might be happening with BookTok right now. But first, let's get into the books. On my last video, I was really craving some fall theme books, and this one really did the trick, Falling Like Leaves from Misty Wilson. And now that I finished it, I do still maintain most of the things that I said about it on the last video. Let me explain. When I was looking for fall books, I was Googling spice level of, to see just how smutty something would be, because I'm just not about that. And I thought I had read that this was no spice. I believe now that it said low spice, because it does have, while it does not have anything graphic, it does have lots of suggestive, lots of innuendo, more than I would have liked to see in a YA as a mama teens. It does feel like watching a Gilmore Girls episode if they cussed. Another thing to keep in mind, Misty Wilson's still a lovely author, and I absolutely love the theming of the book, the description. It was really mouth-watering if you're, hungry for all the fall things. But I wish it didn't have those elements. It kept me from loving the book. I liked it. So, just wanted to let you know. The other book that I talked about in my last video, I'm so embarrassed to say that I did not finish. It's The Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. I still think it's lovely, and I still think that people that are really into fantasy, nowadays fantasy is having a big moment. If you're into a lot of fantasy elements, like if you're into Harry Potter and all those types of books, I think you're gonna love this. It's just too many fantasy elements for my brain to keep track of, and it might have been because my eyes were getting too tired. I had to update my glasses prescription recently. But what that did, it made me extra selective on what I try to focus on. I'm not gonna finish a book that's not really engaging me. But I feel bad saying that about this book, because I think it's a really good book for its genre, but it's just not for me. I don't know that I can say though that fantasy is 100% not for me, because I'm just starting to read this one, Mitch Albom's Twice, and it does have a fantasy element, one element though. A very straightforward, simple idea that's so creative. I'm really intrigued, even though I don't usually get that interested in a fantasy. Let me read you the back of the book. I get to do things twice. I mean it. I get a second chance at everything. Doesn't that sound amazing? Do-overs, rollbacks, whatever you want to call them. It's a gift, a power. There's no explanation. But while everyone in the world must suffer the consequences of their actions, I can undo mine and try again. Not endless chances, mind you. I can't keep messing up and wiping the slate clean. I can't take the same test 100 times. Twice. I get two shots at everything. The thing is, I have to live with my second try. There's no going back. Over the years, I have found this to be the price that I pay for this gift, and the price I have paid in love. And another aspect too is that he can't jump back into the future. So if he wants to do something again that happened years ago, he needs to live the years, and he needs to just keep living from then on. So in the beginning, he's like, I don't even know how many lifetimes I've had, and it's so fascinating. I love it that the pages are distressed at the end to make you feel like you have this old manuscript, even though the pages are really high quality. They don't make me sneeze. And the way it's written, it's not a typical narrative. It feels like you're unraveling a mystery. You're, discovering the secret, like you just found something. It's really good. And that's coming from a typically non-fantasy lover. So, highly recommend it. Speaking of reading fantasy, I wanted to talk about BookTok in general, but how BookTok is starting trends in fantasy, being one of the biggest ones. That makes me wonder how many people following it, like myself trying to follow it, how many of us are really into fantasy or romantasy, or how many of us are just trying to follow a trend. And I say that with no judgment, because just done that, and I'm grateful to be able to give it a try. And it's reunited my reading passion. Like, it reunited a reading routine that I've forgotten I could have. You know, we can get into such a habit of just being on our phone, and that takes up time, that takes up mental energy that we don't realize we're spending. And then when you see a book that's gonna take more concentration, it's gonna take more eye power in my case, you just don't have as much to give. I love it that the internet is encouraging people to read. I see more benefits from that than the negatives, but I guess the negative could be maybe a pressure to fit into a trend, to fit into what's cool right now, just for the sake of being able to talk about it on social media. And I think that's very easy to do, you know, as human beings. Like, we're constantly trying to find confirmation bias. Like, we're trying, for better, for worse. Like, if you're feeling down on yourself, without realizing, you're looking for confirmation that you're less than. I think it's because it just feels safe to feel like what you're thinking in your head is correct, is confirmed, even if it does not make us feel good. And it made me think of how many things on the internet that we're just sucked into that are just afterwards are not making us feel great, you know, if it's not serving us to try to fit into a trend. When I was a therapist, I like to tell clients, and now I tell my kids, you know, watch how you feel after an interaction or after a situation to see if it really resonates with what you want, with where you want to be, with who you are. I love how social media can serve us in terms of forming communities, but it shouldn't rob us of our ability to hear our own thoughts, our ability to choose, remember other things that we like, or remember what we don't like. Like, I've discovered that what I really like to read is whodunits, Agatha Christie style books, and now we have newer authors that are really getting into that genre and filling that type of book description really well. Like Sherry Lapina, I discovered her with this one called What Have You Done? Here's a description. Nothing ever happens in sleepy little Fairy Hill, Vermont. The teenagers get their kicks telling ghost stories in the old graveyard. The parents trust their kids will arrive home safe from school. Everyone knows everyone. Curtains rarely twitch. Front doors are left unlocked. But this morning, all of that will change. Because Diana Brewer isn't lying safely in her bed where she belongs. Instead, she lies in a hayfield circled by vultures, discovered by a local farmer. How quickly a girl becomes a ghost. How quickly a town of friendly, familiar faces becomes a town of suspects, a place of fear and paranoia. Someone in Fairy Hill did this. Everyone wants answers, and one innocent question could be deadly. What have you done? It's so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the multiple POV, the pacing of it, even though it does have some dark themes. I was wondering why, even though she had dark themes and I usually stay away from them, why I'm able to enjoy her books as I do. It's probably because of the multi-POV, so it's not focused on one dark background, one aspect, and it's not overly descriptive of it. And then the focus of the story really is on who's done it, really is on the mystery, so you feel like a detective interviewing all these multiple people. So this is her fall book. This is her winter book, Unwanted Guests, and it says, it's winter in the Catskills, and the Mitchell's Inn is a perfect setting for a relaxing, maybe even romantic weekend getaway. It boasts spacious old rooms with huge wood-burning fireplaces and a well-stocked wine cellar, and is ideal for just curling up with a good murder mystery. So when a blizzard cuts off the electricity and all contact from the outside world, the guests settle in and try to make the best of it. Soon though, one of the guests turns up dead, and it looks like an accident. But when a second guest dies, the others start to panic. Within this Snowden paradise, something or someone is picking off the guests one by one, and there's nothing they can do but hunker down and hope they can survive the storm and one another. So good. I inhaled this in a couple days. If you're into whodunits, highly recommend Sherry Lapina. Before I say goodbye, next on my reading list is Lucy Foley, The Midnight Feast, that looks to be about that same whodunit style, except darker. Can I handle it? We shall see. As welcome to the opening weekend of The Manor, a luxury resort built on top of old secrets in an ancient forest. the founder, the husband, the mystery guest, the kitchen help. Everyone has an agenda, everyone has a past, but not everyone will survive the midnight feast. That sounds fun, and I'm willing to give it a try, even though I have read other Lucy Foley books. I read two. I read The Paris Apartment, which I didn't enjoy it very much, but I don't think that one is a whodunit. I really enjoyed this one, The Guest List. That's a whodunit on the style of the books that I just talked about. An exclusive wedding on a remote Irish island, the bride, the plus one, the best man. I love how they list it. The wedding planner, the bridesmaid, all have a secret, all have a motive, but only one is a murderer. I'm such a sucker for these, and that was a lot of fun. Even though, so opposite from Sherry Lapina's books, where you have a lot of likable characters that you couldn't imagine committing a murder, this one has a lot of the opposite, a lot of messed up people that do messed up things. So it does have darker things than Sherry Lapina's, but I don't know, it depends. It goes a little bit scarier, a little bit darker, and a tiny bit more graphic than I would prefer, but it didn't get in the way of me enjoying the whodunit aspect of it, probably because of the multiple POV. It did make me feel like I was a detective interviewing multiple people, which is what I like. So really enjoyed this one, excited to try this one. Love the sensorial part of the cover, like it's like matte, a little gritty, and then the letters come out, and I'm such a sucker for, you know, the pretty pages. So excited to give it a try. I'll let you know if it's good or not. That's what I have for today, guys. Let me know in the comments, what type of books have you been drawn to? Are they popular? Are they not? How do you feel about BookTok? I'd love to know. And I will see you on the next video. Click a like if you like this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I can't wait to talk to you again. Bye-bye.